Hello everyone, this is the third Kendo talk of, well, ever. And we have got Michelle Lim, who is the guest speaker today. And she will be talking about the things that she wishes she knew when she started Kendo. Michelle is a Sandan Kendoka who primarily now trains in Glasgow. She started off in Edinburgh, University Kendo Club, moved down to Oxford and trained with the City Club there, and now is the coach at Glasgow University Kendo Club and trains with Taisadokai as well. You remember Taisadokai? That's the one with Jerry Kincaid. Yeah. So, Michelle, please give a small interlude to what you're going to be talking about.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Izzy. That's much appreciated. So, this, as Izzy mentioned, is going to be a presentation about the things I wish I knew when I started Kendo. Just a little bit about myself. So, I started Kendo about 10, 11 years ago, and that was in my second year of university at University of Edinburgh. And back then, I was much, much more introverted. I was not a very physically active person. And I was quite a bit of a geek. Play lots of video games, watch a lot of anime, so a little bit of an otaku. Um, so these are the things that I wish I knew when I started Kendo, and I'm gonna break it down into physical parts and mental parts. So as I mentioned, in growing up, I did some sports, yeah, and I did the typical PE classes. But honestly, were they really physical education, or were they really pointless exams? That is up for debating for other people. And I was a bit allergic to physical exercises and activity. And Kendo was quite interesting because at the start it's a bit simple. You get to learn about the foundation, the footwork, and then as you progress further and further, it gets harder and harder. But in Kendo, why do we do difficult and intense exercises? Well, that I will let you guys think, come back with me with the answer. But in the meanwhile, I'll give you what I think is the answer from my version. And I feel that in Kendo, we do difficult and intense exercises to not only build up the muscle memory so that we can be quick and swift in the taikai or in the grading, but also ensure that when we've done the difficult, intense exercises, we have overexerted ourselves. We have made sure that we have pushed our body. Our body has no energy, and we have no way to progress but to proceed with the correct form. So a good example is kirikaishi, which I'm not sure if everyone knows about it, but kirikaishi is the set of exercises where you do about 9 times 2, 18, about 21 hits in one go, in one set. And when you do it in one set, um, it's not too bad. But when you do multiples of that, oof, that is extremely difficult. But
Sorry, we appear to be having some technical difficulties. Wait 1 second.
breathing, cross training, and hydration.
Michelle, sorry, I cut out for a second. I don't know what happened. But the program just closed down.
So, friends, where did it cut out?
About 20 seconds, no, about a minute and a bit ago. Okay. Let's see if this is working now. Oh, why does this always happen? Oh, no, come on. There we go. And we are back.
Thank you very much, Izzy. I hope that interlude wasn't too long. So the last I spoke of was in physical exercises. I was going to talk about the different categories of why we do these physical exercises and how it gets better. So I talk about breathing, cross training, hydration. So first of all, the most important thing is to stretch your body from top to bottom. It's easy to just skip the stretch, especially if you're not sure what to stretch. But I assure you, any stretch is better than nothing. Yoga helps a lot. It prevents spraining, where you can overstretch. Okay, yeah, I say stretching, but be careful not to overstretch as well, or tearing the ligaments, which would result in a sprain. The strain, which is tearing off muscles or tendons, and knee injuries from Sonkyo. So you need to make sure that you stretch yourself out. You don't have any swollen muscles, or you don't have anything really bad, such as Achilles tendon rupture. So Kendo is a bit intense. There will be slight uncomfortable physical sensation, but please don't fret. This is not death. You just need to stretch yourself out. So remember in Sonkyo, make sure you have correct form. If you don't have it correct form, you're not sure, please feel free to ask a senpai or check yourself in the mirror against another picture. And hopefully, if your senpai is good, then they will help you out and you will not have any physical ailments. So another problem that I've noticed as well is quite often a lot of people have their feet pointing out. And this could be a variety of causes. This could be because of posterior pelvic tilts, where the pelvis rotates in a backward direction. Please hold on a moment. I am going to try and bring up my laser pointer. So so as you can see on my laser pointer, your posterior pelvic tilt is tilting this way posteriorly. It could be your hip external rotation. Oh no, I can't go 3D. So hip external rotation is where the hip joint rotates outward on the pelvis, which will lead to outturned hips, knees, and feet. It could also be due to tibial external rotation, where the tibia rotates outwards on the femur, leading to outturned shin bones and feet. Or it could be limited ankle dorsiflexion. This is where your ankle is not very flexible. So then, because of that, it can force the foot to externally rotate to compensate for the lack of mobility, especially when you're walking. And this leads to outturning of the feet. It could also be because of a foot pronation. So, how your foot pronates as you walk, and a collapsed medial arch of the foot may result in outturned feet. So, because there's many causes from the hip, knee, ankle, feet, I would recommend you find the exact cause with the aid of a therapist or a coach or a trainer who knows, and stretch the tight muscles while strengthening the weak muscles. Moving on, lower back pain. So this one is quite interesting. So quite often we sit down a lot, and because we sit down a lot, our hip flexors are short and tight, and then our hamstrings at the back here, it's long, taut, and weakened. So then because of that, there is an imbalance. So if you look over here on the left where it's a neutral pelvis, there is no shortage. There is no shortage of the hip flexors. There's no shortage in the lower back. Everything is more or less neutral. So you get a neutral pelvis. However, if one is too strong, one is too tight, then you get this anterior pelvic tilt where the pelvis will tilt anteriorly towards the front. And this can be caused by sitting down too much or because you have not got strong core. So I would suggest strengthening your core, stretching your hip flexors, and making sure that every time after a few hours of sitting, like if you're going to sit like 5 hours, make sure you stand up and walk and help yourself to a cup of tea like the traditional British people do. Coming on to another problem, Achilles tendon. So you know this because you suddenly have an acute pain at the back of your calf or ankle, and you have a gap in your tendon, and there may be bruising. So first of all, what is the Achilles tendon? The Achilles tendon is the largest and strongest tendon in your body. It connects the lower part of your calf muscles to the heel bone or the calcaneus. The Achilles tendon aids the calf muscles in plantar flexing. So that we do a lot in Kendo. So plantar flexing is the same motion as when we're pointing the toe or doing a calf raise. So when we're propelling ourselves forward. So the Achilles functions in all the activities to move the ankle joint. And when the tendon is inflexible or overworked, it is at risk for injury. And the best thing to do actually is to prevent it. The prevention is much better than the cure. To cure it, it would be very difficult and takes a long time. As you can see, the tendon, it is right there and will take too long to recover. So remember to stretch out your calf, strengthen the calf muscles and the tendon. So you could do heel raises, you could do standing soleus stretch, all the variety here. So coming on to the next item, breathing. So when you see a funny meme and you just exhale from your nose, it's great. It's good. Keep exhaling from your nose. Because, in 1998, Robert Furco and Luis Ignarro, along with Farid Murad, they were awarded for the Nobel Prize in Physiology for their discoveries with concerning the nitric oxide as a signaling molecule in the cardiovascular system. So what does this mean? So let's take it back a notch. Breathing or ventilation is the process of gas exchange from the outside environment to the alveoli in our lungs. So for us athletes, okay, quotation marks, athletes, kendokas, who are striving for optimal athletic performance, our goal is to utilize oxygen as efficiently as possible. And while the greatest athletes in the world are able to consume more O2 in their muscles while keeping carbon dioxide levels low, us is a bit of a different story, but we can work on that. So how can we do that? So if you breathe with your nose, nasal breathing, it cleans the air as it enters your body into your lungs, and it also will have nitric oxide, and this nitric oxide will help you dilate the capillaries so that it ensures that your body will provide significant advantage over mouth breathing. So it will help you manage the input versus the output with the O2 and CO2 exchange, because the nasal breathing, when you breathe in your nose, it releases the nitric oxide, which regulates homeostasis in many of your body's functions, such as heart rate, blood pressure, and respiration. So if you were to breathe with your mouth, you won't be able to get these effects. You may also have poor posture from the tongue placements in your lower jaw, causing a head forward position, as well as the inhalation of a larger than needed volume of dry, unfiltered air. So another thing is in Kendo, you ki a lot. So you don't want to lose more of that water when you breathe in with your mouth. So you breathe in through your nose. So professional athletes or kendokas who are trying to take their level up another notch, who seek to maximize performance, I highly recommend breathing through your nose. I was going to say nows. No. It is nose. Another thing as well is cross training. So a number of people have said different things to myself. Some people have said, no, you don't need to do weightlifting. Just keep doing more kendo, because in Japan, that's what the Japanese do. So yes and no. So yes, the Japanese, they don't tend to do the weightlifting. But one thing I've observed is that if you're kind of short and your BMI is a bit smaller and you're going against someone who's got higher BMI, it's going to be a bit difficult, especially if you don't have the correct technique. And the Japanese overall BMI is 22.6, whereas the UK is 27.3. So honestly, if you want to step up your game a little bit more, I would recommend doing weightlifting so that if I'm sorry, somebody who is British knocks into you, you don't just fly off into a corner, because I have seen that happen before, not to myself, thankfully. The other benefit as well of weightlifting is captured in a law called Wolff's Law, which was developed by the German anatomist and surgeon Julius Wolff. He found that bone in healthy person or animal will adapt to the load under which it is placed. So if a loading on a particular bone increases, the bone itself will remodel over time to become stronger to resist that sort of loading. So what does this mean? That means that your bone mass density increases, so you're less likely to get fractures. So another win in my books, especially when you're getting hit on your kote, and if someone's trying to hit you do and then they miss and then they hit your ribs. I've done that to somebody. Coughed. It was Gareth. Sorry, Gareth. It's a failed though. Another type of good cross training is HIIT, which is short for high intensity interval training. Now, why is that? So I'll explain to you really quickly now. So first of all, what we use to move around are skeletal muscle fibers. And there are two types: slow twitch, type 1, and fast twitch, type 2. Slow twitch, like the name suggests, are muscle fibers that support long distance endurance, for example, marathon running, whereas the fast twitch muscles fibers support quick, powerful movements such as sprinting or weightlifting. So if you were to do high intensity interval training, you'll be building up your fast twitch muscle fibers, which would translate extremely well into Kendo. And also, actually, a weightlifting improves and increase sizes of both the type 1 and type 2 muscles. So it would help you improve in Kendo. Another thing, hydration. So a lot of people tend to just have lots of water, and that's not too bad. Like honestly, that's okay. That's better than nothing. But what you can do is have water, salt, sugar, and creatine. Now, why is that? Well, you see, when you sweat, you also will release salt. So you need to make sure that you have the right amount of sodium. So you need to ingest more sodium in your body to help have the perfect amount of water move into and out of your cells. So salt is essential to hydration. Sugar also provides energy during exercise, but don't overload it too much. Don't like put in, for 1 liter of water, don't put in like 200 grams of sugar. That's a bit too much. You don't need that much. And finally, creatine. So creatine is a natural substance within your body, and you can take creatine supplements, and it helps turn into creatine phosphate in the body. And creatine phosphate helps make a substance called adenosine triphosphate, so ATP. And ATP provides the energy for muscle contractions. And if you were to saturate your muscles with it, then it would help you be able to contract your muscles more. You won't feel as much fatigue as others. So now we're going to come on to mental. So big brain time. So we're going to think like, so as I mentioned before, mentally, I was quite different before I did Kendo. And because of Kendo, I've kind of evolved, I suppose. So personally, I'm not a very competitive person by nature. I'm not very confrontational, and I actually don't like to talk so much. Believe it or not, says the person giving a presentation. And I actually don't really like giving presentations as well, and I buckle under pressure. So loads of all the things where would not be seen in a lot of athletes. So what's changed? So things such as self-awareness and taikai. So I'll explain about why we do taikais and having a community of Kendo people to interact with, and why we have our boundaries, while we have this interaction with communities, and also taking a look at our cognitive thoughts. So how do we think? So first of all, self-awareness in my first taikai. My first taikai was absolutely terrible. It was at the competition in London, and we were coming down from Edinburgh, and my senpai enlisted me to join and said, "Yeah, it'll be great fun. It'll be amazing. It'll be a road trip for all of us on a mega bus, which was a 10-hour bus ride." It was. If you've not had a 10-hour bus ride and you just want to know how it feels like, go for it. It can be instrumental to seeing the world from another side. And after a 10-hour bus ride, getting into London, then not really having a shower, not really having the facilities to actually wake yourself up, then I got thrown into my first taikai. And you know what? I got knocked out in the first round in less than 30 seconds. Wow. 10 hours bus ride for 30 seconds of a fight. So, so why would we do this to ourselves? Why would we participate in taikais? Tell me why we participate in taikais in the comments below, and then we can have a discussion about it. But sorry, thank you, chat, not the comments. Thank you very much. But honestly, it's to develop a self-awareness within ourselves. And what does it mean to be self-aware? So, well, self-awareness was first defined by Shelley Duvall and Robert Wickland in 1972. And they said that self-awareness is for people who, at a given moment, can focus on attention on their self or on the external environment. So why would we push ourselves through this mind-boggling task of getting to the taikai in order to be beaten up? So why must we be self-aware? It's so that if you're stuck with an opponent who's strong and you're at a taikai, and then you just think, oh, you know what, maybe I will try this waza that I barely know in order to get a point, and then boom, no points. It was terrible. And when you look at yourself in the video, you just cringe and you just burn that device that you're watching that video on and hope that no one else sees it. But there is actually a benefit to being self-aware. Like that dog who is looking at himself, he's thinking, why must I be like that? Why must I chase that cat or waza that I barely know during the competition? Maybe it's because I am lacking in the type of self-discipline. Maybe I don't believe in my confidence in having basic men cuts. So to answer the question, why be self-aware? It's to improve your skills by recognizing what you do well. So maybe I didn't do too completely bad. Like my footwork was okay. My spirit was good. So what else do I need to improve? Well, maybe I need to work on those waza I barely know and get better at it. And then through all this iterative process, getting into the taikais, it helps you develop your kendo and kigurai. If you're not sure what kigurai is, it means confidence, grace, the ability to dominate your opponent through the strength of your character. And it can be developed through practice. Kigurai can also be seen as fearlessness or a higher level of internal energy. What it is not, I repeat, it is not, is posturing or self-congratulating or showboating. No, please don't think that. So it's about believing yourself, but not to that extent, okay? Knowing that there's no such thing as lucky people or unlucky people. Grab the moments, prepare yourself, have lots of practice, and when you find yourself at the right place at the right time, take that opportunity to do that basic men cut. So moving on, another thing is because of this, it's helped me develop my mental awareness of who I am as a person. And the kigurai actually helps because I used to live in a very dodgy part of Glasgow, I'm afraid to say, where there was someone who curb stopped someone's bike be someone whose car got smashed completely for no apparent reason, no money was stolen. C, it was voted one of the worst places to live in the UK because of the amount of crimes. And D, there was also an attempted murder outside my outside the flat I was at. But luckily, it wasn't on me. And I feel, yeah. But just a disclaimer: not all of Glasgow was like that. Just some parts. Izzy disagrees. So being able to develop this confidence, I feel, is what's actually prevented me from getting attacked, or maybe I'm just lucky. But I feel that because of this, not as many people are willing to pick a fight with myself because I just am more confident and I exude confidence. So next topic is a community of Kendo. And Kendo is great. And it's so wonderful to participate in this because I have been to many countries: America, Korea, Japan, Malaysia, Portugal. And everybody there, even though they're speaking another language, the Kendo language is universal. Everyone will use the term kirikaishi. Everyone will use the term like nijukai, which is like 20 times. And it's a great way because not only will you be able to participate in the practices, you show your kendo, and after a jigeko, it feels like you've made a friend. I don't know why. You hit someone and you are now friends. And I know I mentioned taikais were terrible before, but it's actually not bad. And then once you've gotten used to taikais competition, it's actually good because you can get to meet new people there as well. And then you find out, okay, this is what I need to do to improve my kendo. And then seminars are also a great way because you get to meet new friends and they can show you different parts of the country that you wouldn't have seen otherwise if you were just, a normal sorry, I was going to say terrorist. I meant to say tourist. I'm I, I strike terror into your hearts with kendo. Thank you very much. Although that said, it's still a community of people, and like every other community, there's gonna be like good and bad apples. And for the good, I've had fun, amazing fun with people that have gone on trips for seminars and taikais, like when me, Izzy, and Tanya went down to taikai near Manchester, Tombow Cup. Yes, that was a really fun road trip where we slept in my camper van and Tanya was sleeping at the front. Poor Tanya. However, that said, bad things can happen. So sexual harassment can occur. I've seen it happen to others, and it has unfortunately also happened to myself. And if this ever happens to you, please do not feel guilty. A lot of times in uncomfortable situation, it's super common to freeze up or not be able to say or do anything. It is a normal part of the 4 trauma responses: fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. If that ever happens to yourself, I hope you are in a situation where you can speak to somebody like a senior senpai and then address the issue. Please, please, please assert yourself. Please, even though if they are a senpai, because just because they're kendo senpai, that doesn't mean they can do that to yourself. So another example is bullying as well. I've seen bullying happen, and I've also been bullied by a senior person. And I myself, I'm sorry to say, I am also going to be honest, and I have accidentally bullied without even knowing it. And then I have been called out on that. And that actually has been very helpful because all these different experiences, although bad, they have taught me how to be a much better senpai. And then from there, then I can be able to put myself in other people's shoes and then realize, whoops, I should not have done that. So I don't want to end community on a bad note. So I'm gonna say that this is also a great Kendo community where we help each other out. One time when I was at a low point in my time and I might have been homeless, I've actually been helped by others and have been offered a place to stay because I had no place to go. And when I was very, very low, I was also offered advice and the contact from my sensei and my senpai, who are my friends, and they have helped me tremendously. Every little bit that they did to help me out went a long, long way. So, because of that, I want to give back to the community as well. And I hope that you all also have this wanting to give back to the community that helps you and helps you nurture and grow yourself, especially when you have been given this opportunity and you are in much better position in your life to help out. Now, moving on, we are going to talk about cognitive bias and cognitive distortions. So, this is Kendo Michelle. What you talking about, girl? Why we talk about cognitive bias, cognitive distortions is what you might be thinking of. Well, that's a good question you ask. Well, you see, it doesn't come too far off from what I've mentioned before, where the physical and the mental ties in together. I'm sorry, please give me a moment. I'm just going to do something.
Michelle is just doing something at the moment. So, again, in the comments, please ask any questions that you want. And also, maybe if you want, like, talk about your own experiences as well with the Kendo community, good or bad. That would be very much appreciated. Michelle, are you back?
Yep, I'm back. Thank you, Izzy.
Cool.
So, thank you very much. So, what is a cognitive bias? A cognitive bias is a oh, I'm so sorry. I've had a long day talking to people. A cognitive bias is a systematic error in thinking that occurs when people are processing and interpreting information in the world around them. And it affects the decisions and judgment that they make. The human brain is powerful, but still subject to limitations. So, an example of a bias is blind spot bias. Failing to recognize your own cognitive biases is a bias in itself. So people may notice cognitive and motivational biases much more in others than in themselves. And there's also negativity bias, where you have a psychological phenomenon by which the person will have a greater recall of unpleasant memories compared with positive memories. If you feel miserable and feel like you can't do anything, stop, identify your thoughts. If people are giving you advice, it might sound harsh, but if they're giving you advice, it's because they want you to improve. It's not because they're wanting to insult you. Although that said, I have seen examples where it was not very constructive feedback, so there's always room to improve when giving back feedbacks for senpais. So the picture on the right there is a really, really good example of a cognitive distortion. So what are cognitive distortions? They true patterns that happens to people and events that happens to people. It can cause the people to view the reality inaccurately to how it actually is, and usually it can distort it by negative thinking. So, an example that I would like to give of a cognitive distortion is one that happens to myself a lot. So what I would used to think to myself was, man, I'm going to go up against this person. Oh, that person looks really strong. Oh, my senpai is just being really nice and saying that, oh, Michelle, you can do it. You've got really good basics. Use your basic men cuts. Coming back to that. And then because I downgraded myself, because I didn't look at the positive things that I could do, I removed the bits and the parts of the confidence that I had. And then as a result, it deteriorated and demolished my Kendo performance. So the first few years in Kendo, when I had this pressure from taikais or jigekos, or I would just be able to not perform. I just felt very stressed, and then I couldn't manage that stress, and then it just ate me up from the inside. So another example is emotional reasoning. It's the false belief that your emotions are the truth. That the way you feel about a situation is that you think that because you feel that way, oh, maybe because I feel like that, it's a reliable indicator of the reality. But most of the time, it's not. Like, for example, I've seen a lot for juniors and beginners who start and they feel, oh man, my body hurts. Oh man, this sucks. Oh no, she's correcting me. Oh, I must be a terrible person. Why am I here? Oh my gosh. Izzy, have you seen this before?
Yeah, I have seen this before in a lot of people. Like, some are less pronounced than others, but some are more pronounced. And I think most people do have it to a certain degree and they just won't believe what other people are saying sometimes. And or they kind of think, oh no, I'm the best at everything. I don't believe if they're saying I'm doing something wrong. Nah, I'm great at this. I'm fabulous.
It's funny you say that because I remember this one time a beginner corrected my senpai who was in plain clothes, and my senpai was fourth dan.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh yes, oh yes.
Oh
And
god.
my senpai was very gracious, and he just said, "Ah, thank you very much," and then just went on his merry way. There's a reason why he was in plain clothes because he was bringing someone else, and he wanted to stay with that other person as well. So thank you, Izzy. So coming back to this, so how will we overcome these? So let's first recognize the this dude sucking at something is the first step to being sort of good at something. Honestly, this is so true. Be mindful and remember this fact. I know this quote comes from season 1 episode His Hero, where Finn and Jake meet Billy, who's supposed to be the greatest warrior ever lived, but cartoons can also teach us. So this is why I'm bringing it to you. So if it is difficult and it didn't work, don't beat yourself down for it. Just try. Try again. Try once more. That didn't work. Try a little differently. That didn't work again. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna try it again tomorrow. Okay, maybe that worked this part. Oh, it didn't work another part. So what do? I can try and ask for help. Ooh, great. Try. And then try to find someone who has done it, like your senpai or your sensei. And and then see what they say and then try to fix what is working and what doesn't work. And then expand on what is working. So just honestly keep trying until you stop sucking. I don't know why Izzy's laughing so much. I know it's easy to say, but it's hard to do. But I believe in you guys. Even if you don't believe in yourself, I believe in you. So don't believe in yourself then. Just believe in me who believes in you. So to summarize, Kendo has helped me work out. It's allowed me to meet new friends. It's build up my mental capacity so I've become more self-aware. I've learned about myself, my values, my boundaries, enforcing these boundaries when needed. And also I learned to take responsibility for my own actions and not do otherwise. I've learned to choose wisely, live with consequences, learning from my mistakes, like I mentioned before, and accepting that sometimes things that we don't like or expect to happen would happen. So make sure to treat yourself and others well. Don't rely on others to manage your life or feelings for you. And you're not there to manage other people's feelings or life. They're your senpai, they're your kohai, yeah, whatever. And Kendo is also good way to teach yourself, like, okay, here's my goal. I'm going to work on this. And then it translates to other areas in your life. So, most of all, follow your own path without comparing to others. And good luck in your journey to the Kendo world. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope it was helpful, and I look forward to meeting you in the future in Jigeko.
Really nice. If you want to stop sharing your screen, and then you can actually be on screen for a little Q&A.
Okay, sure. Can you see myself? Okay, that's great.
See Michelle's lovely face, correct? Please comment in. Please type in the Twitch chat if you can see Michelle's lovely face. Also, please use the Twitch chat. I can see that 10 people are watching. We want as many questions as we can possibly get. Like, anything you want to know? Really? Please? Anyone?
Let me see if I can like change the background so I have something rather than just like plain background.
Have a dojo in the background.
Oh, I don't have a dojo in the background. Oh no, something's happening. Where has this gone? Ooh, you know what? I shall put a beach in the background. That would be nice. Why can I not apply background? Oh no. Wait, okay, let's see. Okay, does that work? I want a beach. Yeah. Beachy days.
Somebody just asked, I'm not really sure what the question means, but what is it called when someone throws the stick? Does that have a slang? I don't know. Throwing the stick doesn't usually happen in Kendo, and if it does, like in a Taikai, that's usually because somebody does something to you. Like, you want to hold on to your shinai as much as you can, really.
If you let go of your shinai, the stick, as you the questioner asked, and you drop it, it is a hansuku, a foul, and you will be given a foul. If you receive 2 fouls, you will lose a point to your opponent. So no, please don't do that.
Yes, please. Any questions on any of the topics that Michelle was discussing? Please. Or anything you can think of. Okay, Michelle, can you talk about your most recent Taikai that you were at then, and how your experiences have varied from the first ever Taikai to your most recent one?
Okay.
If you want to talk about going to squad training and how that atmosphere is like compared to your dojo, that would be fun too.
Okay, sure. I can hear echo.
You can hear echo?
Yes.
I cannot hear echo.
Wait, let me test again. No, it's gone now.
Okay, cool.
So my first Taikai, as I mentioned, was a London. Excuse me. A London Taikai, and I did like the bus ride 10 hours. Just for a 30-second fight. My most recent Taikai was it Tombow Cup with you and Tanya?
I think so.
Yes, and that was last year in
like summer.
Summertime.
Right before Tanya actually moved to Japan.
Yes, when was that? July?
I think so.
Yeah, July. So that Taikai experience was very different compared to my first Taikai. So that Taikai was actually quite fun. So Tombow Cup, is amazing. It's really fun. It's a round the robin. So rather than just fighting once and then losing, then you're completely knocked out. Tombow, because it's round the robin, that means you're guaranteed at least more than like a number of fights that's in the pool. So if your pool is like there's 5 people, so you'll be fighting 4 teams. So that was quite good, and that was quite fun because we faced with a lot of difficult and strong people. But because of the mental training that I've mentioned before, where you try and believe in yourself, you identify your cognitive biases, you identify your cognitive distortions and call out on them, and then work through it. It's helped me become a better Kendoka and also Taisho to Izzy and Tanya. So So, was it you, Izzy, who told me, or was it Tanya who said that they saw the fights for other teams where when the what's the first person that goes, the Fushin and then the Chukin? Chukin's the second person, the middle person. When the first okay, Chukin's the second person. Yeah, when the first two competitors they lost completely, the Taisho, who's the third and the last person to fight, would come on. They would just be intensely demoralized. They wouldn't have the will to fight anymore. I wasn't able to see this phenomena occur because I was a shimpan, a judge, so I was like busy looking at other fights, so I didn't really keep track. So yeah, it was interesting to see how other people were competing. What was the other thing you were talking about? Ah, yes, team squad training. Team squad training. It's difficult.
Compared to like, I'd say, what is the difference mentally? How are you in different places for when you're at squad and when you're at like normal training, or like when you're coaching as well?
Um, it's interesting because when I'm coaching at Glasgow Uni, I am talking a lot more. At squad, I don't talk. I just take in as much as possible, and that's part of training. So you just take in as much as possible. You just try to learn from everybody else. But squad training is it's very difficult. It's very scary.
No, it's so fun. After the second time, it's fun. First time it's hell. Everything else, so much fun. First time, you won't be able to walk afterwards.
Yeah. Your calf muscles just shorten. Everything just hurts. But then it is fun because everyone's in it together. There's no one just being a bit cheeky and not doing it. But everyone's there. The spirit is high. The energy level is so motivating. It just brings your Kendo level to the heavens. Although that said, it is still very difficult and it is still very painful. And you have to queue up for Jigeko, so sparring with other senseis and other senpais. And it can take a bit of a time. But the good thing is that when you're queuing up, you can see how other people fight other people. And then from there, do Mitori Geiko, which is the watching practice. So you learn from observing. So that's quite helpful. Yeah. What was the other thing you asked?
Like, what is it? So, what is the difference between normal training and like you meant? How mentally are you different from normal training and squad training, basically?
Mentally, squad training, I have to make sure that I mentally prepare myself. It's a good thing that before I went for squad training, people told me it's gonna be like we're gonna do this for 1 hour. We're gonna do kirikashi for an hour. So because I've been mentally told in advance, I know what's going on. So then I can prepare myself and know, okay, yeah, I am here in it. I have paid this much money to go from Scotland down to England to do this training. So I need to bring my A game into it. And then sometimes it's very difficult, and then I just kind of crash and burn, and I just lie down on the ground during break times, and I'm thinking, what am I doing to myself? Why am I here? But it actually helps improve your kendo because then afterwards, it you just like I mentioned before, where the physical and mental tie in together, it helps you bring your A game to other parts of kendo, so into your normal practices as well. And we do a lot of the drills in the physical way so that we don't need to think too much about it. Everything is just automatic. If you're in a, if you're gonna be sparring with someone in a taikai, so you're in a shiai, a match, and you're in a competition, your opponent's gonna sniff out your weakness and just zoom in on that weakness and just target you. So if you're trying to think about like, oh, my foot, oh no, my left foot's pointing out, oh no, my right foot's there, oh, what should I do? Boom, your opponent has taken that opportunity to like swoop down and get a basic men cut, and you've lost an ippon, a point. So swooping from your opponent is bad.
Now we have a couple questions. How often do you get beaten down to your absolute mental limit at any squad?
Wait, well, sorry, correction. Every squad and also every time I go against my sensei. Tear.
Yeah, like, well, I don't get met. Well, no, sometimes I do get met.
It, yeah, it depends.
Like,
Yeah.
do you,
True.
and following on for that, do you think you emerge stronger afterwards every time?
Sorry, I also want to give a joke. So it's either I'm stronger or I'm weaker, and then the next thing kills me. I'm just joking. Definitely much stronger. So I did the Duke of Edinburgh Bronze, Silver, and Gold Award. And I've noticed that because I've done those difficult things like Duke of Edinburgh, Bronze, Silver, Gold, it actually helps facilitate my mental strength so that I can next take on bigger challenges and feel more confident in overcoming them. So, good question. Sorry, I just really couldn't help doing that joke.
I would also say it really did, like, if it's an actual Kendo challenge, not somebody just being I'm not gonna say the words, but you know what I'm talking about. If somebody's just being rude and discouraging and beating you down mentally in that way, I don't think you're going to come back any stronger because that's basically just someone attacking you, and it's not really beneficial. But yeah, you will come back stronger as long as you also do approach it in the correct way. If you just go, oh no, I suck at this, why am I even doing this? No. And then don't kind of reflect and go, yeah, this is what happened. Oh, I should be doing this. And like ask the person afterwards, talk to them normally. They may be scary when they're beating you up, but like, you know, it really depends. You'll come back mentally stronger if you actually think about it and don't just take it as a loss and go, oh, I'll never be any better. That's how you lose in Kendo. And now we have another question from Peter from Edinburgh.
Mhm.
He thanks you very much for the talk.
You're welcome.
He finds it. He has a tendency to overthink when he's doing Jieko and Shiai. Same. And finds it hard to quickly react to opponents. Is there any good way to mitigate this? Can I say something first?
Go for it.
I would say the only way to mitigate this is to train even harder until the point where all of your mental things are just like, oh, I don't need to think about this. This is all muscle memory now. And then you can actually just concentrate on trying to find your opponent's weakness and concentrate on the small things and get your body used to reacting at it.
I think it also depends on what you're thinking of as well. I would recommend trying to think that you're trying to kill them. Don't think like, oh no, they're gonna kill me. I'm so scared, and then huddle up and cry, and then eat ice cream in the corner. It not that it happened to me, of course. So good question, Peter. What I would suggest is just with think in mind that you are going to kill them. You are absolutely going to wreck them up from the inside out. I mean, mentally, and then beat them up. They should be afraid of you, not the other way around. So have that in your mind. And also, like Izzy said, make sure that you do your practices so that everything is correct when you're practicing, so that when it comes to taikais and shiais and gradings, everything's automatic. So you don't have to think about all the other things.
Can I add something on? This is also why, oh, I know this word. The way you dress is really important. Oh, I should know this. I pick up people on this all the time. Chakso.
Chakso. Yeah.
This is why your chakso is so important, because if you go into a fight or shiai, your menhimo are everywhere. Like your hatare is not even straight. Like your do falls off halfway through. The person you're fighting, Michelle's doing this because like she's seen people like this. I've seen people like this. when you see people like this, they might be fantastic at kendo, but then it basically gives your opponent the thing of, oh, they're probably like a beginner because they don't know how to dress properly. I'm like, you may think this is like something small, but again, the mentality of kendo is really important. If you don't dress the way to show your appropriate level, or at least that you know what you're doing, your opponent will not even take you seriously, and that like just giving them the confidence to like take you out in a second. Yeah.
They can guess your level because for British Kendo Association, there's different requirements for different grades, and I think is it IQ that your Chakuso should be correct. I'm not sure. I haven't
Oh
been
no,
IQ for
it's
a while.
like second or third key that your Czechoslovakia should be correct. But like
Right,
obviously since it's done at a dojo level, it's basically EQ that it's done nationally, and then but just don't take this as, oh, I need to get it good for grading, but every other time it's fine. It's just it's not falling off, right? It needs to be good consistently. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you'd like to add on that? Because we have one more question as well.
No, let's take that final question because it's almost 7.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So, how do you personally calm down after a really stressful session?
Stressful kendo session or stressful jigeko session? So stressful kendo session. I don't remember a stressful kendo session except that my body is just physically hurting. So then, if that's a physical stress, I would just make sure I go for massages, uh, by physical therapist, or just use my massage machine, or use my lacrosse ball or my foam roller and massage those things out. If you're talking about mental stress for like a jigeko, what I would recommend again is the nasal breathing. So just taking really, really, really long, deep breaths in. So inhaling for say 7 seconds, holding it for 5 seconds, and then exhaling it out for 8 seconds. So why take these long, deep breaths? It's because I believe you have the parasympathetic nerves, and because if you're taking intense breathing, it can elevate your fight or flight mode, and then you might actually cause yourself to be more stressed than you need to be. So just take long breaths.
Oh, there's one more question in Discord. Sorry. What is the
Uh-huh.
first? It's a really cute question, honestly. What's the first step to believing in yourself?
First step is I believe in you. You got this. You go. Sorry. Who's the question? Who's the person who's asking the question?
Let's keep this a secret, but like,
Okay, sure.
that's a valid thing because like, you might not believe in yourself, but you're like, you should believe in what people have taught you. So you should, if you don't believe in yourself, believe in what you have been taught. Believe in the people who have taught you. Believe in your senpai. Believe in everyone you fought. And then you can believe in yourself after that.
Another thing is that it comes back to the Kigurai, which I was talking about, that warrior spirit of that pride. So, like Izzy said, so believing in your training. So, trust your training. Trust that you have corrected yourself. Trust that you have done all you've done to check at each of these stages, like, what have I done good? What have I done not so good that it could be improved on? And then, if you're still worried, like I mentioned before, just take these deep breaths in, 7 seconds, hold it for 5 seconds, then just let it out for 8 seconds. And belief is a tricky thing because if you don't have it, it's very difficult to believe in yourself, right? So why not just believe in your training? And if you can't do that, have someone talk it out to you. And if you have someone that's like a good senpai that trusts your training and trusts your abilities, that's a measure of confidence that you can trust.
Okay, that is fantastic. Thank you so much, Michelle, for giving the talk. I really loved it. I thought it was really helpful, especially the physical aspect, because My goodness, do we need more physical knowledge in Kendo, especially after this massive break that everyone's had to take? Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, there could be a lot more, but this is the things that I've noticed a lot in terms of kendo injuries. There can be a variety because people come in all shapes and sizes. Um, so if you do feel something off, feel free to ask questions. There's the UK Kendo Club Hub. There's your physical therapist that you can talk to. There's also information available online. Just Google it. So thank you very much, and I hope that was very helpful. And thank you very much for having me, Izzy.
Thank you all for coming. Again, please talk to each other on Discord. It's meant as kind of a just social Kendo platform. If you ever just want to talk or chat to other people who are doing Kendo or ask literally anything. Oh, try and ask the weirdest question you can. This is a challenge to everyone who's listening. I dare you. Yeah. Thank you so much all for coming and watching. I hope you enjoyed the stream. See you all next week for a talk from Jackie, who is another Glaswegian senpai. Past her, wait, did she pass her Yon or Godan?
Yondan.
Yondan,
Yeah,
Yondan.
yeah.
She is fantastically strong, and oh my god, intimidating as heck when she's doing Jigeko in the best way possible. So make sure to tune in next week. It will be so much fun. Tell all your friends. Come on. Anyway, thank you all for coming. Goodbye.
Bye bye.